Brother Tyler, invite the guests into the lodge and leave the door open so others may join us for this message. Welcome to another episode of Follow Me. We are your hosts, Worship Brother Wiley Forrester, and I'm Worship Brother Will Moore. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Corona. Hopefully you got it.
And pain meds from this painful move I've experienced in the last few days. So, good evening. We'd like to say thank you to all of our subscribers and our followers. Without you, we'd just be talking to ourselves, which is something we do quite often, but it's better to have an audience.
It is. We like an audience better. And
we talk a lot. So, again, welcome to our show. This is episode number 10 for us. It's hard to believe that less than a month.
Well, no, just over a month.
Yeah.
Just over a month.
Somewhere in there, 4 or 5 weeks. You know, we've managed to put out 10 episodes of our little program, and, you know, we've reached a lot of guys. We've got a lot of great feedback. We've learned a lot. We learned a lot about what we need to do and what we don't need to do, and, of course, that's hard for me, you know, because if I feel like we need to do it, we're going to do it. So, but anyway.
Well, first, talk to us about our new studio.
So we got our move in, kind of painful, but yet it's an exhilarating experience to be able to go through what's happening in the world and to be able to purchase our dream home for Michelle and I, and we've worked very hard to get to this point, and God blessed us very well, and we left a 12 by 12 office down at our other place we're probably in a 20 by 30 now. Yeah. Is our new place, but of course nothing's put up yet, and you know, hopefully by next week sometime we'll have some more things out, and then hopefully it'll be a better setting. We'll get some better lighting, and of course there's some changes we need to make because we were used to the other setup and how we were doing things over there. I mean, like our workstation tonight is a fold-up table with a blue lodge blanket sitting up on it. But we're getting there, and like I said, thank you for everybody who's wished us well, and we're good. You know, we're glad to see everyone, and you know, but this is episode number 10 for us. So you know, it's hard to believe this fast that we've done it already this fast. We're so appreciative of all you guys hanging with us every week, and we hope that we're bringing some kind of decent message about the world and how we see masonry, how you and I view masonry, and how we think about masonry as a whole. We know it's a struggle for everyone right now. Yeah. Speaking of struggling mightily now, we saw what our governor has done. You know,
and if you haven't, you're living under a rock.
So our governor's got a soft opening going on into some things that I don't really understand why those needed to open first, but you know, he's the governor, and so be it.
Well, his wife probably wanted a haircut.
Yeah, it could be
manicure.
You know, it's not, don't have the good fortunes like you and I. We can get a haircut anywhere, anytime, especially at our own homes.
Yep.
But he's doing a soft opening, and you and I talked about it extensively today. My phone is rang off the hook constantly about guys wanting to know when we're going to start meeting again and what we're going to start doing. I'm sure yours has too.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't know,
and we don't have any idea about what the Grand Master, our most worshipful brother Johnny Garman, is trying to do here in Georgia. All I know is our Grand Master is going to look out for the best interest of our members, considering that the average age of a Master Mason in the state of Georgia is 66.7, I believe, something in that number. But you know that we have 32,000 members, and we know that the majority of them are going to fall into that category. We got a high percentage of that 32,000 that are in that category. So we need to understand as members of the state of Georgia that we're going to follow what the CDC tells us to do. We're going to follow what FEMA is telling us to do. You know, when the Grand Master thinks that it's safe for us to hold meetings again, he's going to hold meetings again.
Yeah, just because we're putting out something like this, we don't have any extra knowledge.
No.
Grand Master's up here. with the decisions.
And we're way out in the parking lot. We don't even get in there close, man.
We don't make those decisions. And I wouldn't want to.
But I will tell you, if you remember back our first couple episodes, they said, Brother Wiley, when do you think we'll start meeting again? I said, it would be mid-May at the earliest. Right. Well, Wiley's thought is I don't foresee us being back in a lodge before June. But that's my personal opinion. And the reason why I say that is we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks.
Right. And we don't need to say that because hopefully everyone knows, and if you're new here, this show is just our opinion.
Our opinion. We don't have any insight. We don't have any leverage on anybody. But what we do know is we have extreme confidence in our Grand Master to not put any of our members in harm's way. Because in spite of all what's going on and the soft openings and the phased in openings of our state again, what we did learn is that even if the Grand Master said we could go back to meeting next week, because his order runs through the 30th, and then he'll make a decision what's going to happen. But even if that's the case, it said that if you are a high risk person, that you should not. You should consult your doctor before, or your healthcare provider, or your medical professional before attending large gatherings.
Right.
The Grand Master has not set down any parameters for Masons in Georgia yet, so we don't know. All I know is I'm ready to go back to lodge, but until the Grand Master tells me to go back to the lodge, I'm not going. In spite of any other organization that we may belong to in Freemasonry, in my personal opinion, if the Grand Master issues an edict or an order or executive decision, that pertains to all the bodies of Masonry, not just the Blue Lodge.
Correct.
So that's just Wiley's opinion, and it's hard for some to accept that fact, but the Grand Master, he's the man. So, and we need to follow what he has to say.
Well, and if you look around at the other states too, most states, their shelter-in-place orders end on the 30th. However, as we discussed earlier, there's still an emergency order in place.
Till 13th, right?
Right. So, they're doing this phased approach to see how things go. And I know the numbers, if you look at the numbers in Georgia in particular, there's been a rise of 2,000 being reported, but what a lot of people don't realize is that the folks that got tested at the first part of April, their tests are just now coming back. They weren't part of you can get your test done in 10 minutes. Right. So those numbers are still being reported daily. So it looks like we've got 2,000 when maybe we've had 200 today. And I'm just throwing a number out there.
And you and I both also agree that we're not medical professionals, and we're not infectious disease guys or all that. But what we do know is they're throwing everything that you could be diagnosed with is into this field. So, in my opinion, the numbers are not exactly factual. Right. So they're just combining everything. Oh, that was for the coronavirus, Doesn't matter what it was. So, in my personal opinion, again, and I'm not going against the government or anything they say. I just think that the numbers are not factual.
Well, and so we have several questions for the audience tonight. We definitely are going to go a little interactive tonight. So our first question is, how do you all feel about this? Masons and non-Masons alike. What do you think about what's going on with the phased-in approach, and what do you think about where we stand as Masons? Do you think we should go back to lodge?
Or is it too soon?
Or do you think it's too soon? Or, I know some of you think it's not soon enough. And when you do go back, so it's a multi-part question. When you do go back, are you planning anything special? Think about this. You've been out of lodge for 2 months. Are you going to do a grand reopening? Are you going to have a special family dinner and get families together and make it a big festive thing that, hey, we're open again. We get to meet. Let's make something big out of this. Let's have some fun. So what do you all think? Give us some feedback on what you think about what's going on and what's going to happen. And your thoughts about when we do get to go back to lodge, what are you going to do? And some of you may not have thought about it, but Wiley and I have thought, a grand reopening, a huge family thing. Start dinner a little early and have a longer dinner with your families, and have some fun that evening.
Mm-hmm.
Open your lodge, do the things you need to do, but maybe open it up later if you can, and get the families involved and do something fun. So, what all do you think? Welcome to Michelle, Wiley's wife, and my wife, Stacy, are both online. So it's good to see the ladies in here. All you brethren that are here, it's great to see you again, as we said before.
So please put some answers down to the questions that Worst Brother Will just spoke about. What is your honest opinion? I mean, you brethren are from all over the state. You have your own perception about where things are. You are supposed to be able to. You're a Mason. You're supposed to be a free thinker. So we want to know: is it too soon? How do you feel about the way that our state government is doing? And I agree with Pastor Grandmaster Walford. It is too soon at this point. In my personal opinion, I said it and I've stated it 3 or 4 times. I want our members to feel safe when they return to lodge.
And several folks are all agreeing that same line. They're saying it's too soon. So we have a lot of like-minded folks on the cast tonight. I know there are some, and I've talked to some of my own members, that they think we should get back to it. And everyone's going to differ. That's fine. For those that think it's too soon, what do you think about when you go back to lodge? What are you going to do? What kind of special event, special fun, special thing are you going to try to do? Or I know there's a lot of work to do, a lot of things to catch up on, but think about the fact that you're reopening. You've been shuttered.
And Worst Brother Coffee made a great point. Brethren, we know not how many members we've lost during this time, whether it was other health-related items or issues, or to this deadly virus that's going on. We've got to be able to set time aside as a lodge, if you've lost members, to pay the proper respects to the memory of your departed brethren. That is a huge part of when we go back to doing lodge business. I personally, my lodge has not lost anyone yet.
I don't think we have either.
And I don't think y'all have. But I do know that Unity Lodge, where Worst Brother Tom Hayes is at, they've lost 2 or 3 members. I know that several have happened, but the fact is that needs to be a big part of your get back into things. And brethren, what I mean by that is we need to pay those last sad tribute of respect.
We have to.
We got to. It's our obligation to do that. So, but that should be part of your getting back. And as lodge officers, I hope to all of you who are watching that you've been communicating these things. You're developing a plan, because we are going to reopen. We are going to go back to meetings. But how are we going to address things? Because that's going to be different when we get there. We know that brethren, as Masons, more especially Masons, us, we greet and meet our brethren in a certain manner. Most Masons are huggers.
Huggers, handshakers.
So what are we going to do? I mean, and I love to have festive boards. I love festive boards. I love the ideas of family cookouts. Unfortunately for us, as Masons, we're going to have to get reacquainted. Yeah,
we are. But how is social distancing going to affect that reacquaintance? Are we going
exactly?
Are we going to continue? And I know it's going to be hard for people to either break the habit they've gotten into lately, or get out of the habit they've been in for years. Want to go up and hug someone, and that person is a little skittish, so they just want to do the elbow bump, or they just want to say hi from afar. We're gonna run into a lot of that, and that's going to be a new normal for the interim. We're going to have to get used to. So that's going to be very interesting.
Are you going to feel? And here's another question for our audience: are you going to feel? Do you think that you're going to feel uncomfortable or skittish when meeting or greeting a new brother?
I don't have a problem with this one.
Well, but what I'm saying, and you know what?
Well, a new brother, yeah.
A new brother or an elderly brother, you know.
Well, and that's where we've got to take into consideration what's going on, especially with our elderly brethren.
I mean, I feel kind of weird sitting in lodge wearing a white mask. You know what I'm saying? that just doesn't seem right.
Apron up here tie it around your.
Yeah,
mouth.
I saw that today. That was pretty cool. But those are things that as we prepare, whether it's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks, as the state leaders of the Free and Accepted Masons in the state of Georgia, the Grand Lodge, its officers, the district officers, and the local lodge officers, you guys need to be planning how are we going to address each other. During our ritualistic parts of our openings, there are certain things we have to do a certain way. There is no exception. Masonic law does not allow us to do it in any other manner.
I guess it boils down to what are you most afraid of, or what concerns you most when we restart.
That's right. And we thought that this would be a prime day for this, considering that my wife can go get her nails done, she can get her hair done, and if we want to go bowling, we can go bowling or go to a movie. So,
and we wanted to bring this topic up too because we have a new start here in your new place. So it really made us think about when we get to restart our lodges.
Yeah, how are we going to feel? I mean,
yeah,
it's like I told everybody. And I've told them over and over and over again that we're going to be skittish of each other because we don't know what that is. And I know that your wife will take your plaid shirt and make masks for everybody. I get it. Anyway.
Oh, the idea of gloves in lodges.
And I'm not against that, having gloves in lodges. But what do you do when the gloves? Are you going to wear rubber gloves, or are you going to wear white gloves and cotton gloves, and then how are we going to disinfect them when you're done?
I'm probably thinking of rubber gloves or medical gloves, but I guess you could do that and wear white gloves over them and then just wash the gloves later.
I don't know. I'm all up for that too.
There's a ton of ideas out there, and that's what we want. Is we want these different ideas. We've seen the cookouts, we've seen the festival board, we've seen the idea of wearing gloves. What are some other ideas you guys have that help us get back into this again?
Well, and what it'll do too is if we get some, we know that we've got to take some different precautions when we come in there and make some things other. I do agree with Robert's brother Kessler. Where's our limits at?
How do you stay 6 feet apart while getting a haircut?
That's right.
I saw a picture about that where the guy had the clippers on a pole.
Yeah, or the guy was doing a drive-through window. I mean, going through a drive-through window to get your haircut. And that brings up an interesting point. In lodge, if social distancing is still the prevalent topic of the day, how are we going to manage to stay 6 feet apart while we're in a meeting? Some lodge halls will be okay because they're not having that kind of participation. But in my lodge or your lodge where there's 20, 30, 40 members there, that's a large gathering.
Yeah.
And, we've got to prepare ourselves for that. We do need to make sure that there's hand sanitizer there. We do need to take those precautions. Even into June, July, it needs to happen. And it needs to become part of our culture change, I guess.
Right.
But, I mean, most of us in Masons, we know to wash our hands when we do certain things. We know to wash our hands before we eat. We know to we're always trying to take care of ourselves. But I do understand that our lodges need to be a place of importance.
Where's Brother Kessler had a good. How do you do a degree and say 6 feet apart?
That's exactly right, and that's where I was going with that, and didn't get all the way finished because I got squirrel moment.
Well, and it's true, and that's one of the reasons why I believe that our Grand Lodge is going to push this out even further, because he knows, our Grand Master and all our Grand Lodge officers and our brethren know, you can't go to a lodge meeting and stay 6 feet apart. You can't.
Well, and the thing about it too is, and I say this, and I don't mean this, I really don't know how to say it in any other manner than what is about to come out. Our Grand Master is in that age demographic. Mm-hmm. He wants to protect himself, and he knows what he has to do to protect himself. So he's thinking about these other senior members, mm-hmm. and I call them senior members because they are senior members, and he wants to protect them as well. So it's about that, and that's a big decision for him to make, and I know that he's going to make the right decision based on the health of our fraternity.
Well, and you and I both know we have members in our lodge, or honorary members, that are in their 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you know, as you go up that scale, the more critical it gets to those folks. Now, I think we're going to see, and when we start lodges again, I think we're going to see a lot of the older members stay home.
Right.
Because they are worried about their own health. I think we're going to see the younger members, those that are, and I'm just going to throw a number out here, because I'm 50, I think we're going to see those folks that are 50 and below participate more in the beginning.
Right.
I think in July and August, we'll start to see some of those older members come back as the numbers continue to decrease on the COVID curve.
Correct. And you know, there's the big fear of the second wave and all those things that reoccur. So, you know, there's a lot to take into consideration as we reopen ourselves and do that and phase ourselves in. You know, we want to make sure that everyone understands, though, that is a member of the Grand Lodge of Georgia or a member of a lodge in Georgia. You know, we're going to do what the Grand Master tells us to do.
And most other jurisdictions, they're going to do what their Grand Masters,
yes.
Grand Lodge officers tell them to. We're not discounting that at all.
Right. And, you know, but those things, though, it's those same questions that come over and over again. When, as a Mason who's been a member for over 20 plus years, you've met and greeted a different Mason in the same
manner.
Yep. You know, it's just one of those things that you can't, you know, there's so many people who have disregard for others' safety, you know. So, you know, do I completely agree with the governor? No. But do I totally disagree with him? I don't do that either. I thought he could have opened some different things. But I also know that as Masons, as we transition back into our lodges, we must be mindful of others. And it's always been that way. You know, we got to be mindful.
Right.
So, you know, we were talking about these family dinners and family gatherings and things of that nature, and how we should go back and do things in stages. And, you know, I wish that all of you would take a little time between our shows and go back and look at some history. Look at how formal things were in a Masonic hall. Mm-hmm. You know, how the men dressed. If you know, in the 50s and 60s, they wore their suits under their coveralls when they went to work at the auto plant. But they walked into a lodge wearing a coat and a tie. Yeah. I'm not saying that we got to be 100% formal. I'm just saying that when we go back to going to lodge, we need to treat it with the respect that the lodge deserves.
Dress it up a little bit.
You know, we talk about protecting Masonry, protect it. Well, here's a way to go back to being a little more traditionalist.
I mean, we've got a new start. Why not have a new start?
Exactly, fresh from the get go. You know, we asked everybody what they were most afraid of, and you know, I just think that we can do our part as an individual to make our transition back into lodge a good experience for everybody.
Right.
It's already going to be hard enough trying to worry about this distancing thing, so that's why I don't believe we'll open again until late May at the earliest, or maybe June.
Where's Brother Ron? How many dishes can we make with green beans?
Everybody should know. You should be pondering that thought. That's one of those things that make you go,
we got to have green beans the first night back. I mean, I've missed it for 2 months now. I've had green beans a couple of times at home, but
right.
Not the way they fix them in a lodge. So
So, we're very thankful, again, for your feedback. We wish others would take the time and send us some stuff away from here. I polled a few members today, a few of my mentors, and asked them some topics to talk about and things that we need to talk about in the future. There's some things that I want to tell you that will be in upcoming episodes for us. We're definitely going to talk about etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we're going to talk about etiquette. We know that we're going to talk about, investing in others.
Investing in yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to be able to invest in yourself as well. So those are some upcoming things that you and I are going to be on the...
Well, and some of the other ideas we've had are, we have some ladies joining us. What about some ladies organizations? Some of the ladies may not know about the organizations, the appendant or the tied to bodies for women. So we definitely want to bring those up, and we might even bring in a guest speaker for that.
And we're also going to go into some more history. We're definitely going to go, did you know again? Did you know will probably be... We're talking about maybe once every quarter-ish, maybe a little sooner. Depends on how much history I got time that I have time to dig up. So
you got to remember that Wiley and I do this, and we put notes together, and we think of topics to bring, and we work full time. So that's why we always ask the community for give us some ideas, throw ideas at us. We've got to.
We haven't been in the shut-in state. So
well, we've got a Google document where we put down all these ideas. We've got some of our own. We've got some from the community we received. But feel free to send us all the ideas that you want to see, and we'll put them down in here. And the more we have, depending on how we feel, what's going on, what's happening, we'll pick a topic.
I'll go back to. I'm going to go back to. By this time next week, I should have the library set up here in the office, so that I can start giving these brethren some good books to read and things that I find interesting for myself. I'm about to tackle Albert Pike's Esoterica. I've read it once before, but I'm trying to work on Master Craftsman program for Scottish Rite. Now that I have a little downtime, I'm also wanting to take this time that we're away. I want to become a better ritualist in my Scottish Rite degree on the team that I belong to. I want to study more of the meaning behind the Masonic Code, not just the words or the code section that was written, but what was the thought process that caused someone to want to issue that or try to schedule as Masonic law.
Well, and it goes back to, most of you have a hair dryer if you have hair, or your wife does. If you look at the tag that's on a hair dryer, it says do not use in the shower. Well, they put that tag on there because somebody did that.
That's right.
And it's the same way with Masonic laws or government laws or local laws. Somebody did it, and that's why they put it in there. So going back and researching the meaning,
or trying to prevent, something.
Well, but a lot of it's done so that because someone did it.
And I don't know about all the brethren here on our show tonight, but reading the Masonic Code can become confusing because of the way that it's annotated and the way that we have certain punctuations here and there and
the legalities.
The legality of what we're saying, because it could say something but have a totally different meaning. And I want to become more familiar with that side of what we do. And now that, I haven't been able to do much of that because we're, transitioning through our move and everything. But, I don't have a man cave here. I've got to study. And this is what I want to do. And I think I've got a well enough collection of things that brethren who live close are more than welcome to come by and use them once all this is lifted. Michelle might not be very appreciative of it, but I want to be able to have a place where my brethren, all the Masons that live close to me, can come and study. The goal is to educate oneself, as always has been. That's why you and I wanted to start this little thing, and because we wanted to educate members.
Right. And right now, I know a lot of our topics are focused on COVID and what's happening, and what we're going to do. As we get out of this, we're going to go more towards historical learnings, master or manager versus leader kind of thing. Some of the things we do in the leadership conferences that are taught that some folks don't get to see because they don't go to haven't gone, or they've already been a master in their lodge. So some of these things that we share at that and other things that are shared in lodges, we can put on this kind of
media. Eventually we want to get to the point where we're teaching something leadership based, something member based, the variety of things. But the one thing that we need to be well at for all members of our fraternity, even those non-members, is to try to master the art of neutral thinking. Mm-hmm. We make decisions in all of ourselves in our fraternal life, more especially based on feelings.
Well, it's hard not to.
That's right, because we're human beings. But we've got to learn to be able to train our minds to think neutrally. And what I mean by that, just a short synopsis, is we got to be able to take in the problem, the question, or whatever it is, compute it.
Some of us have a smaller processor than others.
Well, that's me. I got the small processor. And then be able to separate that and make a non-binding, neutral reaction to the problem. Okay?
Not a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, and in our fraternity, I find that we do a lot of knee-jerk reacting in a lot of things we do, because most of us are passionate, most of us love our fraternity, and when you feel threatened or you're not happy with someone's statement, well, that's the way it works.
Worst Brother Benny has a question. Are we planning on continuing these shows after the lodge reopen?
Absolutely.
We are, but what's going to happen, because we are both heavily involved in our lodges, there's going to be a lot more recorded episodes. I haven't talked to Wiley about this yet, but I'm sure he'd probably be in agreement. I'd like to have at least 1 or 2 live shows every month. They may not be on Tuesday. Well, they probably won't be on Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Well, we may have to switch our days, because lodge days are Mondays, right, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and we know Saturdays are shot. So, and we like to spend Sundays with our families. So we may do a live show here, but we're going to get these things down to 15, 20 minutes during that particular time. But if we do our recorded sessions, that allows us to teach more, because we're reactionary to you guys and whatever you guys say to us. So, you'll see me, I can't talk and read at the same time, and my brain will operate like that. But
and we did our first recorded show. It's episode 9. It was called Epidemic. It's our first one. We did pretty good, we think, on it. If you haven't watched it, please go back and watch it, because there's some good information about the Spanish influenza of 1918. And those are the kind of things where we don't have an audience interaction, where we're going to put out more factual stuff and put it out in a more condensed version. We may talk for an hour in front of the camera and record that, but when you get it, it's going to be condensed to half an hour or less is our plan. We've got a topic of the cardinal virtues. Definitely going to be recorded episodes at that point.
Gosh, that'd be 4 episodes separate.
4-part series.
So,
we are going to continue, but we appreciate the brethren asking.
And Worst Brother Coffee, he made some good statements, about actively thinking, but he posed some great comments here. What do the working tools mean to you? And those are things that you need to see or learn for yourself as a brother when we're talking about improving oneself. Okay? So, anyway, we're down to the point where we like to talk about our quotes. And, next week's episodes will have some books in there with our quotes. And we found some good quotes again this week. And
well, we are going to have another episode on Thursday.
Yes, absolutely.
It'll be another live show. So please, I've been sending this out, first few episodes I sent out to 300 people. Well, Facebook has now chopped me down to only allowing 50. So please, I know a lot of you are, Tom shares it for us quite a bit. please share this out because I'm not able to send it out to everyone I would like to. Please share this around. Please text your brethren, send them an email, whatever, and get this out there so we can have even more interaction and we can get this to be a bigger audience participation in these live shows. But in keeping with what you do,
no, you can't do what I do.
My first quote is from someone in history.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge history buff. He is.
Oh yeah.
I've never been a huge history buff. My wife will tell you too. But my first quote is from Benjamin Franklin. Well done is better than well said. And that is so true in Masonry.
When you think about it, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Think about that. That's a pretty awesome quote right there. Worst brother Evan, we remember the question on Facebook. Give us the answer.
Yeah, what is the answer? Go ahead and type it up, and then we'll say it out loud once you get it up there. The next one is a personal favorite of mine. I've forgotten about it for years, but came across it and remembered this is something that someone told me years ago. It's by Brandon Notch. Set yourself on fire, and the world will come to see you burn.
That's a fact.
And it's a great statement if you think about it. If you set yourself on fire for Masonry, you'll draw people in.
Well, and think about this too. We get this nice crowd, and you and me, we poke fun and make jokes at it. We make some fun at it all the time, but it's a true statement. There are those that sit and wait for you to make a mistake, so they can pound on you like the tiger waiting to get its prey. It's sort of the same concept, but if you do set yourself on fire with passion and energy and love, love is still the greatest tool in the world. It's so powerful. You can't do anything with it. I mean, it's just powerful.
Right.
So, yeah, if you set yourself on fire, everybody's coming to watch a good fire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a good one right there. I'm proud of you right here.
And then another one I like, and it fits well with what we're doing right now, because we've literally built walls between ourselves, keeping ourselves socially isolated. So Sir Isaac Newton said, we build too many walls and not enough bridges.
Well, that's true.
And even though we have these walls because of social distancing, I've watched the brethren and I've heard from them and I've seen them do it. They've built these bridges of communication with phone calls, video conferencing, going somewhere and standing 10 or 12 feet apart just so they could see the brother.
Absolutely.
So it's really cool that I found some quotes tonight that really fit the mold of what we're trying to do with what this is.
So you see, Worst Brother Evans got his, he put 2 flags up, and one had a P and one had an M.
Well, it was a blue flag. They were both square flags, communication flags. One was a blue field with a white square in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. The other one was a blue field with a white 45-degree cross in it.
Yes. So the answer to that is follow me.
That's pretty cool.
That is, Worst Brother Evan, you just always amaze me with some of the things you find out all the time. And good evening, Brother Mo. It's so glad to have you here. And we got one more quote, and I think it's pretty fitting for today's society.
Yep.
And it is, he who believes is strong. He who doubts is weak. Strong convictions precede great actions. Louisa May Alcott. So if you're strong-minded and you got strong will, you're going, if you believe in who you are and believe in our fraternity, then great things are going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I just feel that is a huge quote, for us at this time. Mm-hmm. For he who believes is strong. We don't mix very many religion, politics, and stuff when you and I taught Masonry.
Right.
Because we were taught that Freemasonry is non-religious nor sectarian, which means that we don't discuss those things within the confines of our lodges.
Right. And that's what we try to stay away from here as well, too.
Yes, and I know that people, we have a lot of religious, or a lot of religious meanings in some of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I know our basis in what we do, but we also need to understand that your creator is your creator wherever you come from, as long as you believe in that one. We also, I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, left, right, it doesn't matter to me. If you made the same promises and obligations to me, we should be the same. Just because I don't think like you or agree with you doesn't mean you're wrong or I'm right. It means we're still brothers.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're still brothers, and as long as you don't talk religion and politics in our lodges, then life is good and as it should be to be a Master Mason.
Yep.
So, anyway, that's all I have for today. I mean, I could get on that tangent and talk for about 3 days, but
I'm going to shut him down.
But I refuse to.
Well, and I'm going to shut him down too. Brethren and ladies, audience, we really want to thank you for spending your time with us again tonight. Please remember, if you haven't, to hit the like button, the subscribe button. That way you get notified when a new show or an upcoming show gets posted. And invite your friends and family to join us. They're going to probably learn something. Let's see. Where's Brother Mike Kessler? Posted a quote from Brother Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
It is a good thing for an uneducated man to read books of quotations.
So are you saying, are we uneducated? No, I know what you're saying, and I know what Brother Churchill said too. But some wise things come through some good quotes and good powerful quotes, and we'd like to share them with you guys, but hopefully next week we can be back on books, things that I'm more familiar with. But anyway, we also want to remind everybody that if you get a chance, thank your first responders, thank your medical professionals, your truck drivers, your grocery store people.
Yep. All those clerks that are there selling you something because it's essential and they're still open. They're putting themselves in harm's way, not as much as our medical professionals, but they are. They're right out there on that front line.
And we also, we need to remember this. If we don't remember anything from tonight, that it takes zero money to be nice, to be kind. Be kind to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
And we will see you all again on Thursday night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.